Hello and welcome to the Gangneung Hockey Centre for the 9th and final day of competition at Pyeongchang 2018. The big one has arrived, the gold medal game between the world champions Canada and the back-to-back Paralympic gold medalists, the United States of America. The 7th edition of the gold medal game and the first time these two have done battle at this stage of the competition. It promises to be well worth the wait.
It's incredible that it is the first time that they have done this competition against each other at a Paralympic gold medal match. It's beyond fathomable to think about that, but that's the case. These guys have not met in a gold medal game. They've done it at the World Championships level. They did it in 2015, 2017. They both took a World Championships each. Last year it was Canada in the gold medal game that found a way to get started quicker than the Americans, but these two nations are the best that there is in para ice hockey. As we look at the way that they had to travel to get through to here, Republic of Korea have already taken the bronze, and it was the United States with an impressive victory over Italy, and Canada equally likewise over Republic of Korea that gave them the rite of passage into this gold medal game. And it really does stagger me, that fact, considering that they have been at the top of the sport here for now at least the last 3 Paralympic Games. But since the starting of this competition in 1994 in Lillehammer, Norway a big part of it in the early, late 90s, but since the turn of the century, these two nations are the ones that get it done in para ice hockey.
They've been absolutely formidable so far. Canada 42 scored, none conceded. The Americans 38 scored with just 1 blot on their copybook. The referee Christian Nikolic, the Austrian, alongside him Andreas Lundgren of Sweden and David Nothager also of Austria.
That's actually Guy Goslin and the American coach, and we have some incredible news here that Nico Landeros will not be a part of this American gold medal performance here today. And we're going to find out more information about that afterwards for Ken Babby. He's made a couple of selections. Henry and Gemmel won't be in the lineup, but we're also missing a suspension for the Americans. Tyler Caron won't play either. This is the lineup for the Canadians, and in goal, it looks as though it's going to be Dominic Larocque. And for there is Guy Goslin. You can look on the face right there, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I know about being inside of a dressing room. The situation that's going on for the Americans right now is not a simple one. Whatever it is, we'll find out afterwards. But here we move through. As United States of America, Josh Pauls will back end this rotation. It's number 4, Brodie Roybal, and number 16, Declan Farmer, that will run the show up front for the USA. They are the best 1-2 punch in the world.
Dominic Larocque, the 30-year-old then, the goaltender for Canada in this gold medal game, and Steve Cash getting the nod for the United States. He, the one American goaltender who has not conceded so far at these games. Tyler McGregor, what a tournament he's had so far. 8 goals to his name, and we possibly have 3 on the ice here competing for a Paralympic record of 11 goals in one tournament. That would equal Sylvester Fleece of the USA, but the most likely to do that is that man there, Brodie Roybal, the American 4.
And you know what's so impressive about that particular record that could fall here today is that the sport's getting better, but everybody's getting better. And that's offense and defense. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to score more goals, because teams, the systems, the application of putting those systems in place and coaching para ice hockey is improving all the time. And goals by these 3 players have individually been incredibly well performed at.
These two have been in the last 5 gold medal games, but never against one another. 3-time gold medalist, the United States, against the Canada side looking to add to their gold medal from 2006. And puck drop about to occur here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre. Doors are locked, seatbelt fastened. We are on the road in this gold medal game. Canada against the United States of America. And it just feels like fate that these two, really peaking at the right time, are coming against one another. And there is a very strong contingent from both sides of the border in North America. Big army of red and a big army of red, blue and white as well. USA in their change strip of all white. going from right to left in the first period against Canada in their traditional red. McGregor with his first touch of the puck, trying to weave inside of Roybal. Just laterally came inside there, and McKee was first to it. Dumping it round the back. Misevic trying to get up the rebound there. Arsenault quick across. Misevic always lurking around the crease, and he's one to watch during this game. First opening this, Misevic again trying to get in there as Larocque just parried it out towards him, and again, the man in red have just swept it away at the last.
Well, the reason why Misevic is so capable or so effective is because he's got such a wide handling of the puck. His range and his reach is just outstanding. He's like an octopus with those long arms, and he's forever involved in the play, so it makes him very dangerous at any point if he's around the puck.
Billy Bridges, the Canadian veteran, and he's released it now. This is Delaney, just off balance somewhat. Hickey will pick it up. So much strength in depth with the Canadians. And this may be on their second line now, but the names that they've got out there have got so much international experience. Of course, when the two sides last met in a major tournament, it was the World Championship final here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre 12 months ago. And Canada really stung the Americans with a 4-1 victory after America had won in the round-robin stage by 2-1. Hickey, Canada trying to get off to the fast start, and the shot goes wide. It probably went further wide than it seemed initially. Steve Cash looked very relaxed indeed as he just looked at the puck fly to his left. Now Delaney across, great control that from Armstrong, who's just got the puck under his sledge, lost it slightly with Farmer biting away, and then round the corner the effort comes in from Bridges, and that again is foiled.
It's an outstanding play by Armstrong, because that pass across was like a shot. He took it right into his body and kept possession of it and kept it alive as Bowden just gets himself out of trouble there as a last-second escape valve.
Such an intense environment, this gold medal game, which is no surprise at all. These two sides are rampant against everyone else in the Paralympic Games. But when it comes to them facing one another, they really begin to cancel one another out. Bridges now, ghosting forward. Farmer just left on his side as Bridges continues to surge. And Deckelbeck has just come across and slammed it.
It's smart defense from the Americans. The players know that majority of the players out here are right-hand dominant. They would prefer to shoot the puck with their right hand. So therefore, they take away the right side, force them to their weak side, and that's tough playing defense with your back to the forward coming at you. But the Americans know how to do it. So do all of these top-flight para-ice hockey players.
Arsenault, right in his back that was the American Dodson. Dixon coming across, arguably the best defenseman in the world, Adam Dixon. And it's not just what he can do in his own territory, also the other side of the blue line is quite effective as well. So far in this tournament, 2 goals and 8 assists.
Yeah, Dixon is a real table setter. He basically slows things down when he gets the puck, and the game slows down for the Canadians. They're allowed to open up and get better passing lanes, passing angles, and to be ready to receive the puck in a better position when Dixon gets it.
Now Dodson, opportunity on the angle, and I don't know if that's come off Larocque or the outside of the post, but it goes away to Canadian safety nevertheless. Dodson with quite an opening there. And I'm not quite sure how he got so much room in behind.
Well, they were lucky, Canada, there not to have been penalized with too many players on the ice. So difficult in para-ice hockey to make those line exchanges because players have got to go in and out of the same door.
McGregor, there's a lot of room in the centre right now, and McGregor trying to expose that. He's got 2 in red up alongside him, and Cozzolino just lost his bearings there. And now, well, the Americans have got some room here. Dixon was the only one back with 2 white jerseys around him, but Roybal just didn't have the room or the acceleration to get away from those in red in the neutral zone.
And this one just gets away from Dixon. He sends a couple of long passes here on his last 2 attempts, and the one before was broken up because it was a little bit slow arriving. That one is played harder, and it goes down for icing. But this is a chance from Dodson, who really turns the corner here and makes this happen right in Larocque. And that's a tight angle, but he shows he's got deep speed in the corners, and he holds his line.
Canada winning the face-off, and still swarming around the puck though are the Americans, trying to make something of that. Hickey eventually can bring things away, and McKee is chasing him. Hanning now coming across, Hanning a surprise addition to the defensive line today, and Hickey's got the better of him. McKee and ultimately Pauls as well managed to figure their way out of it, and now Bowden on the retreat. Dixon getting that room in front of him as the Americans are just being drawn in and exposed behind. Delaney. Hanning going across into Hickey again. Hickey is the one getting the better of it. Bridges, he's waiting, and Bridges got a shot away, and Roybal comes across and does extraordinarily well to block what would have been a certain shot on goal.
That's a distinctive feature of missing Landeros. You have Roybal back in front of his own goal blocking shots. Normally he's hanging high at the red line looking for a breakaway pass.
Yeah, the Americans certainly having to adapt in this game. Big check in the centre there between Westlake and Roybal, and Armstrong nearly got the better of it. Paul's the American captain, has just checked in front of them. Misovic also back inside his blue light, just gets it up to the other end of the ice. It won't go for icing. Arsenault, the Americans make their changes. Westlake forward from McGregor. Bridges ahead of him, and Dequebec slams straight into him, and that will be the first penalty of the game, issued by the referee Christian Nikolic.
It's a rough call because Dequebec comes up to play him. It's hard when you come forward aggressively like that as a defender. And I'll see what he's going to call here. He's going to call holding him, and there we are. That's the assessment. It's actually Page, so it's not the Dequebec hit. It's the Page situation off of what we thought was the call there, the play right on the puck carrier. It's coming up here. Page just getting a little tug here on Westlake. That's the call, not the hit here as we see McGregor about to front up with Dequebec.
First time out of the first period. It's scoreless here. Canada 0, USA 0.
Well, the Canadians have a little bit of a different lineup in this gold medal game. They've gone with 4 defenders. They have gone with as many as 5 at points throughout this tournament. Bowden missed the first 2 games, which I believe was just about managing ice time and overall work and volume of work over a short tournament like this. But Henry's not playing in this one, and neither is Gemmell. So he's going with his 2 lines, and then he's got a 3rd line. The young boy, James Dunn, and then Shola Mickey, who'd been outstanding as well, and Corbin Smith just provide that 3rd forward rotation for Canada.
Hickey on the edge of the face-off circle. Roybal straight into his face, and Farmer will back him up as well. As the Americans are calling on their big guns now on this penalty kill. Farmer, Roybal, Wallace all on the ice. Dixon, Bridges inside of him. There's 3 Canadians on the near side. Bridges lonesome somewhat as he initially got the puck. Now he's got the support of McGregor, and that is fired wide from him.
I thought the Canadians had a better shot of it right there in front, point blank. They elect to go for maybe a B option or a C option in the end.
Westlake, it's blocked by Bridges, and can he turn and score? No, he can't. Inadvertently there, Billy Bridges doing the work of Steve Cash.
This is a game here for Steve Cash to really earn his money, earn his keep, the nickname that he has, the money man. This is a game without Landeros in front of him where he simply has to be the best player on the ice for the USA to win gold today. He's capable of doing it, but he doesn't get a lot of action in the games that he plays. So it's tough to rise to the moment always at the right time, and he'll be doing his best here today, but he's looked sharp.
Just over a minute remaining of the Canada power play. Farmer back there and turning away nicely, just dumping it long in towards the near corner. And Larocque thought about coming out, and it's a good job he didn't because Roybal has beaten Bowden, and Roybal's got a chance to square it for Farmer. And the backside play just comes across, and Dixon can gladly take it away.
Roybal and Farmer on the penalty kill are a living nightmare for any team that has to play up against them, as the Canadians end up taking an icing call really simply by result of the chaos that both Roybal and Farmer brought about in that shift. And they have the speed, the instincts, and the anticipation to just rip you to shreds, and it's good fortune there that it goes off of Cozzolino's sled, or otherwise it connects with Farmer, and from there you could bet that he's going to get at least a quality chance in on Larocque.
America negotiating with this penalty kill quite well so far. 45 seconds left of it. We're going to have another face-off in Canadian territory.
This is the Dixon play, and it goes into the bench. That's not a penalty going into the bench. It is if it goes over the high glass indirectly, or directly rather, not going off of an opponent's stick or off of the glass itself. That would be a delay game, but into the bench, that's accepted.
Canada can just measure things now with Dixon as he surveys the scene. He's waiting for an obvious option. Westlake is that, and then Hanning. Well, he may be a youngster, but he's clattered straight into Westlake there. And it's a great outside play now as Hickey is through, and he's given the keeper the eyes, and he's missed.
Wow.
Well, I don't think that came off Steve Cash. And Hickey has just lost his bearings at the final moment after accelerating so well. He darted into the right position, and he seemed to do everything right, but he missed.
That's unbelievable. At the finishing point, he just, unfortunately, whether he lost the handle of it, but he had done enough. He sold the move to Cash, and Cash was buying it. And unfortunately for Hickey, he just himself, I think, was not able to maintain control.
Well, it's fast and frenetic. It's not been the most eventful first period that we've had at these games so far. The Americans back to full strength now, but, well, that's not hit Cash at all, has it?
It's just got some air. It's what's happened. It started to roll, and it's gone down the heel of his stick, and the heel is not as wide as the blade, and it's just rolled over the heel, and he's just not got enough of the stick on it.
And you bet in the previous 4 games of this tournament he would have bagged that in the net. Maybe the pressure getting to him on the big stage. As Canada go for their first gold medal in the Paralympic Games in 12 years. The tight play on the near side. Kozolino out on top. The Canadians just seeming to shade these 50-50 battles right now. Armstrong's got Deckelbeck right in his back. And the latter has done very well there to spin it towards the near side and Wallace. Not the most cohesive game from either side right now. And that could be a mixture of the occasion, but also the opposition defense as well, just doing a job. Arsenault away from Misevic, and he's got Armstrong there for help. McKee's done very well indeed to keep it alive. And Misevic, has it squirmed in? No, it hasn't, but for me, Larocque there had no idea that the play was to his right-hand side because he was going the other way.
Yeah, that was his problem there in a hurry because Misevic saw that he was looking the other way. He tried to come out and scoop it. You see how passionate he is and how excited he was with his moment there. He was quick to go from the left hand, try to get to the right, and then just basically just reverse scoop it into the Canadian goal. And he has been as busy as any American forward in this opening phase of the first period, as this is the look back at the Hickey play. You saw the puck starts to get air underneath it. Once it gets air, and then Hickey has got to go underneath his sled. He really is in rather an awkward position in the end. You see how he's got to elevate his sled so he can get underneath, and just a few many moving parts there for the Canadian, and unfortunately not able to just make the most of all of the activity going on there.
The likes of Hickey make that opportunity look so easy so often in para ice hockey that you expect them to bank it away when they get the opportunity, but it's not that simple.
Well, they make it look easy, don't they? And what ends up happening here is you start thinking that simply that their chairs are designed, their sleds are designed to always stay upright. They are keeping themselves upright through the force and use of their arms and also the core strength in their trunks and their core of their bodies. So these sleds do not stay, as you just see right there. McGregor slips immediately if he doesn't keep himself totally balanced.
Into the final 5.5 minutes of the first period. And Misevic will gradually get his stick onto the end of that loose puck, but Westlake was quickly there. And now come the Canadian charge, and Deckelbeck again with a forceful hit. Westlake. Well, the Americans are disrupting any opportunity Canada get to get into any sort of rhythm. And that's positive stuff as the Americans on the charge with Roybal. He's going to be second to it against McGregor. Arsenault, who's got 2 around him in white, and he got lucky.
The most we have seen of Farmer and Roybal so far has been on the penalty kill, so that shows you a little bit about how challenged the Americans have been with the puck offensively.
Kozolino, they seemed offside, but they've got away with it. Kozolino, and saved by Cash, the rebound, will it be taken? McGregor was there, Kozolino again, and you're not going to get it through that melee. Westlake now, circling around. Dixon. Everyone in red in the offensive zone, but not on that far side of the ice, and you would expect Roybal to get there first. He's allowing Bowden to get it, and then get him at the second attempt. It's well nudged forward though, as Westlake looks to go on the wrong side of Deckelbeck, and he succeeded, but Wallace mopped up. The Americans are keeping really strong right now. Canada seem a bit brisker around the ice though. But they're not being allowed the gaps to penetrate. McGregor.
This first period from USA has been the most physical that they have played at any stretch in this tournament so far. They have that ability, but they seem to be consolidated in this opening period. They have played as a team defense, and committed to team physicality.
It's all hands on deck, and this is the first time in the game where the Canadians are consolidating a bit of rhythm and momentum. And Hickey, can he punish the Americans? Oh, Pauls has done so well there, just to put Hickey off at the dying embers of that move. Bridges trying to nudge it back. Well, it's not always having to be done with flair. And the Americans are just getting their sticks in the places that hurt and getting the puck clear.
You can see from Ken Babby, he's as emotional as he's been at any point in his tournament. He is right at the front of the bench there. That's his coaching style. Wants to be at the front line as the Canadians continue to pursue.
Bridges, big chance, and it's the first goal.
Got in.
Steve Cash could not get enough purchase on it, and the sting of the shot from Billy Bridges has given Canada the advantage in the gold medal game with less than 3 minutes remaining in the first period.
Bridges basically just burrows a hole in the arm of Steve Cash here. There's enough force in this shot that it just drills right through Cash, and he finds a way just to open up the left-hand side here, and that is just about shooting to score, shooting to put the puck right to the back of the building. And it might not have been the most accurate shot that Bridges has ever taken. As you watch the exhale there from Babby, that is massive.
American resistance broken, and it's by one of the Canadian linchpins, Billy Bridges. Just one of 3 Canada members of the roster who actually played in the gold medal game of 2006. This is a new experience, this gold medal game, for a lot of the Canada ranks, but not Billy Bridges. And a bit of fortune about the shot. Uncharacteristic from Steve Cash as well.
Well, there's so many cliches about shooting in the sport of hockey, and it's about just taking the shots when they're there. And you miss 100% of the shots that you never take, and we could go on and on. But that one there is simply about will. Willing a puck in by shooting it as hard as you possibly can with everything you've got, and Bridges is rewarded.
Well, it's really fierce on that far side. Misevic just into a bit of a breakdance at one moment, and then you have the fierce collision of Farmer, who wants a bit of Dixon as well. Canada riding the waves once again, and they won a second. One thing about the World Championship final, when they won 4-1, their 4 goals came in twos. And they were really catching the Americans out when they were at the weakest.
Look at Roybal again below his own goal line here. This is not normal Roybal play, but this is the commitment from the Americans defensively in this opening period.
Misevic is the deepest American right now, just trying to shepherd away this puck. They're just that little bit quicker, aren't they, to the loose change, Canada. And here's McGregor, and that's deflected off Roybal. And Roybal is covering some serious ice right now.
Yeah, the early bird gets the worm, and that's what the Canadians are doing right now. They're getting to the puck first, they're pursuing it quicker, and this is good play. They're finding a way, even when they do get closed down, to keep the puck alive.
McGregor, that's ambitious. And fortunately for the Americans, it's come to Farmer. We've not seen much of Farmer so far in this game on the offensive. Roybal there got ahead of it first, and Misevic almost came inside of Delaney. But the physical presence of the Canadian number 10 was too much.
Canada needs to be careful here. These players, Farmer can open the door.
Farmer, referee almost got in his way there. Misevic, and the cutback is for Deckelback, and he couldn't get enough interest on the puck. Farmer ghosting away with it. Is there an option in the middle? Delaney blocking the daylight. Still Farmer, back for Deckelback again. This time releasing it for Wallace, and the shot is blocked and comes for the Rock. And the Americans yet to get a shot in on the Rock's goal to Canada's 5, but that was a really good spell for them.
Certainly was, considering they hadn't had any shots on goal prior to this shift. As we look back at the Bridges play, Bridges, I think, just catches Cash in the blocker, and it just eats him up. It's in the blocker, it rolls across his body, and that is a very unusual goal to be allowed by Steve Cash. He doesn't let up many, but that one basically just overpowered him.
Bridges, Delaney and Hickey both wanting it. The latter will get there. And Deckelbeck is really on the march now. Delaney met by Roybal, who has been very industrious defensively, Brody Roybal. He wants it at the other end of the ice though. Misovic will turn, take his time, he won't be allowed it, but we have come to the end of time in the first period. And the big cheers and the standing ovation are those who are carrying the Maple Leafs here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre, because Canada lead in the gold medal game by 1-0. And it's Billy Bridges in his 5th Paralympic Games who has netted the only goal of the match so far in a game which America offered little offensively. They had to do a lot of work in their own defensive zone, which was to be expected. And Canada finding the breakthrough to break down the American resilience. It's Canada 1, USA 0.
Confiscated by police. Please keep your belongings with you at all times.
안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 방치된 물건은 보안상 위험 요소로 간주되어 수거될 수 있으니 개인 소지품 관리에 주의해 주시길 바랍니다.
That's the tally from the first period, and in the end, the Americans get no shots on goal. And they had a little bit of a flurry at the end, but for the most part, they were spending it in their own defensive third. There was a power play for the Canadians. They generate 5 shots. They do get a return of the 1 goal from Billy Bridges, and that was an overpowering strike from the Canadian talisman. 12:06, so late in that first period, officially comes in. And it was an even strength marker, and he just found a way just to use his force. Billy Bridges is a bull of a man, and he found a way there. But look at the Canadians are strong on the face-off, 70-30. So you're seeing right now a Canadian side that actually looks to have a little bit more depth, a little bit more strength at this point in the tournament. That doesn't mean, though, that the Americans can't find a way to win a hockey game here today. We didn't see a lot from Farmer, from Roybal in that opening 15 minutes as far as getting a chance to go on the break and on the transition. All they need is 1, and they can come and change this game in the wink of an eye. So the Americans hanging tough and doing most of the defending in that opening 15 minutes. And we'll have a little chance to look back over that period here now. And the work initially starting here from the Americans, just trying to get across Larocque with a good play just to protect his front of the goal. That would have been to Roybal. That would have been in without a doubt. As the start was a good one, and Bridges tries to slam one there, just tries to overpower, and that's his MO. Getting to that part of the net there first, Cash is able to front up against it. Cash isn't as big a player as Bridges is, but he's able to be strong at the right time. And then you see this was Dodson, who was coming around the corner trying to make a play, and he finds a way, enough room and enough of an angle there to get a shot in Larocque. It was a pretty good test for the Canadian keeper, Liam Hickey, who had a glorious chance earlier or in this period where he looked as though he had beaten Cash. He's just trying to provide some of the service there out to Bridges. A real powerful opening 15 minutes for them. McGregor getting the shot off, and it just sort of fraying away from him. But this was the Hickey chance where he had Cash basically on the canvas there, and all he had to do was just knock him out with 1 more, and Cash totally outstretched. There was enough room there for Hickey to get the job done, but unfortunately for the Canadian, he just couldn't quite control it. As the speed, the movement of the sled, it changes the angle in which you're handling the puck as you come in, and of course just trying to keep it flat at that full clip is a challenge for any of these players. As you see, just the penetration coming in from the Canadians, but it's the activity. It's frenetic in front, and there's the goal from Bridges as he just brings out his Makita drill and just goes right through the Cash left side. And I think it catches Cash on the blocker, and his blocker's not fully fronted. And look at Babby. Babby is losing it, and you do not see that from a very stoic, very gentle, and what I would say a teaching coach is what Ken Babby is. He's not a rah-rah, a cheerleader. He's a conversationalist, and I think he also is a thinking man's coach of this team, but he knows just how big a deal that was as they finally get a return for all of their good possession in the opening period.
And the stats certainly reflect how the Americans have been up against it, which was going to be the case. Of course, they had the blow of missing defenseman Tyler Caron, and there is no Nico Landeros, which is an interesting one, but it has certainly meant that all of the Americans, no matter whether it be on the forward line or on the defensive, have had to muck in and do what they can. And it looked as if the first 15 minutes was going to go by okay, unscathed, until the Billy Bridges goal. But certainly the Americans are trying to be disruptive, and they know, being a great side themselves, and if they get in Canada's faces and stop the flow of momentum for those in red, then it is very difficult to carry on moving down the gears and then back up again.
An interesting look at the ice time here. Roybal with 10 minutes and 34 seconds of the 15 minutes of that opening period, which is just unbelievable numbers. 8:57 to Misevic and 6:19 or 8:52 for Josh Pauls, but it's 6:54 for Declan Farmer. So Declan Farmer, who run and guns with Roddy Roybal, they're not on the same line, but he didn't, for me, get enough ice time in that opening period for the U.S.
Just moments away then as the crowd file back in the Gangneung Hockey Centre for the second period. Fine margins in the first 15 minutes. Can the Canadians extend their advantage, or will the United States of America peg them back? We're about to find out here in the gold medal game Canada against the United States. The puck is dropped, and it's the Americans in white going from left to right who pick up the face-off there. After not winning many of those 50-50 battles in the first period, but immediately putting the pressure on Larocque, who has to kill the puck dead. And so the Americans can now flood into the offensive third.
Interesting just the way Larocque takes that on the back of his blade and then brings that in, but then he just settles it down with his glove hand. Often you're taught to have the glove and have the stick behind it in case it gets past your glove, but such is the nature of his equipment, the way he's strapped into his sled there, but he's very confident and a very effective stick handler is Larocque.
Pozzolino, first contact was too heavy on him, and Pauls could easily come in there and assert his dominance, and then Farmer clatters into McGregor and a few exchanges afterwards as well. These two sides very familiar with one another, of course not meeting too often on the Paralympic circuit. This is just their fourth meeting, and Canada have never beaten the Americans, 1 tie and 2 USA wins in that time, but they play each other quite a lot across the year in smaller tournaments, whether it be the Four Nations or maybe the Pan-Pacific as well. Roybal fires it in, Farmer, oh, big chance, and it's just come across too quickly there for him to grasp any sort of sufficient contact on the puck. Now Paul, the Americans have got Canada rattled, and Larocque there showing exactly that as well, not getting the puck at the first time of asking, but a big chance for Farmer.
Well, we've seen adjustment here from Guy Goslin. Farmer and Roybal are playing together now with Misevic as he realizes they need to get going. How about that? That was as close as you would want to come and not score. As Farmer had the right idea, he touched it as heavy as he wanted to, as he thought he had the measure of the left post, and he just minced it by there, just a snowflake. And that's an unfortunate one for the Americans, as they were in a golden position to level this game.
We may see that combination in a few moments' time as the Americans make the line changes. And now coming forward is Hickey. Got Delaney on the overlap, and Armstrong is busting a gut to get up there as well. Hickey, nice pirouette immediately away from Dodson, but Wallace not so easy to be beaten. And Wallace actually comes out on top ultimately. Bowden with the loose picking. Canadians with 3 on the near side. Well done, Delaney. Bridges tight angle, saved by Cash this time. It was going to be hard for Bridges to really find a gap to score through there on the outside of the right blade from that angle, but Cash had to make sure he got it the first time of asking.
This is the insert pass, and he goes to the backhand. It's his only real option as he's being fronted there by De Quebec. But Billy Bridges, for a big man who's got the power game as well, he's got some great moves. He really could dance in his sled and dance with control of the puck. The two complement each other as he generally is able to generate more and more speed and deception the more puck time he gets.
Paul spinning away. There seems to be a bit more urgency about the Americans in the second period. And Roybal, he typifies that urgency. Coming forward now, it shoots. Boy, leathered it towards Larocque, who did very well to get that. Make sure that Misevic, who was sniffing around for second pickings, was not given any.
Well, they're having a chat there, aren't they? Roybal and Farmer talking about that. He takes an almighty swipe at this one here, and there is nothing wrong with this play. The puck is rolling, and it's tight, and that's a handful for Larocque. It's again about that stick handling from Larocque. He really has. That's an extremely effective skill, because that one was too hot to handle. He had to put the gloves on, the cooking gloves, to just get that one to safety.
He can stick handle. Larocque was forward until after Sochi, and again he's having to show his goaltending exploits as well. Oh, it's been a rocky ride for the Canadians at the start of the second period. Here's Roybal. America really on top now. Roybal still going on the outside of the right blade, trying to just put it through there for Hanning. Well denied by Bridges, and he's got it now as Canada have 3 going forward. Westlake marshalled away by Misevic. The United States have the grip between their teeth in the second period, and this is a big improvement.
They've gone in that first intermission break and they've eaten a little bit of gravel. They've come out here and they're just not tasting so good. Playing the game that they were playing was rather a convenient game in the first period. They're playing the game now with rolled up sleeves.
Farmer, Misevic has to get back in time. The puck beat Misevic into the Canadian territory. Now Misevic has got the break. Misevic, big chance. Farmer wide. And the net's gone flying, but the puck has not gone in it. That's the most important thing. Misevic there would have felt like he was going through syrup to try and get on the end of that puck, and it turned out to be maple syrup. It came back towards Farmer, he missed, and then carnage broke out in the crease.
Misevic here finds his way through the maple trees, and he keeps it live. That's by design. He feels and knows that the pressure's coming, that he's got these Canadian Leafs all falling around him, and he just leaves one out there for Roybal to find a way into an opening, but the net gets knocked off in the process, and for a moment here, the Canadians are bending, and they're bending with a big degree of flex right now as the Americans, the best thrust they've had offensively in the game.
Rico Roman, well, easily let Dixon in to take that puck away from him, and now Hickey. Canada are so good on the counter charge, and look at the speed in which they break. Cozzolino, he's crowded out, and then the other end takes a bit of a bashing as well.
Well, just to clarify, if the puck goes across the line while the net stays on its moorings, you see the pegs there, they're rubber, they used to be steel. There's holes in the ice. If, in fact, the net stays in its position and the puck goes across the line, regardless of the bodies flying in and the chaos, as long as it's not been brought about by the offensive players. If that goes across the line and Cash is in his own goal, it's a goal. But the net comes off its moorings, and again, it's incidental, and there's no assessment of a penalty for anybody intentionally knocking the net off. But you've seen these two sides recognizing here that forget the nice stuff, forget the dessert, let's get back to meat and potatoes, and let's go to the net hard.
Well, the officials just having a bit of discussion, and that allows the two sides to have a bit of a break. Canada 1, USA 0. And this is going under review now. And Christian Nikolic putting on the headset.
Well, there's a couple things. I don't think you're reviewing whether or not there's a penalty. You're reviewing whether or not the puck went across the line before the net left its position. So you got three American defenders. Where is the puck? Nobody knows. If it's underneath them there and it goes in before the net comes off, it could very well be awarded a goal. We can't see where the puck is. That's the problem. I thought for a second it was just in front of Cash's blocker. Hard to tell, and because it's inconclusive, I really think he's going to struggle as well, Nikolic, to be able to make a determination anything other than it's a face-off in the defensive zone for USA. But this we watch and we await. As if this was to be awarded a goal, that is some sort of favor for the Canadians. But we'll just watch and wait as everything's kind of turned into a library in here. We've not heard this place with this many people in here this week sound like this. It's pretty much dead silent.
An anxious wait for Ken Babby, who I think will expect the worst and hope for the best in this. I mean, we look at the Americans retreating here, and it ends up just puck surfing, really.
Well, it's underneath, I think, Cozzolino at that time. And maybe it never leaves underneath Cozzolino. He's looking underneath him as he's getting his sticks back together. Where is it now? It's in the sleds, and Dodson maybe takes it with him. Maybe Dodson takes it into the goal. And that's the hard part. We can't see it, and if we can't see it, it can't be called as a goal.
Yeah, we've seen about 3 angles now, and I still can't identify where that puck is.
Remember those 2 holes in the goal line. Those are holes. Those aren't pucks. So I know I'm stating the obvious here, but when we're looking for the smallest thing, it's kind of like, where's Waldo? I don't think Waldo's in the building. And the puck certainly wasn't very clear as to where it was either, because it went walkabout.
Well, still, the referee, Christian Nikolic, is having a conversation with the video reviewers.
This is interesting that it's gone this long. I'm really interested to know what it is that he is actually looking for.
He's getting ready to put the helmet back on now. He's made his decision, whatever it is.
Well, is this going to be a classic Yuto song title? I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Apparently he has. It'll be interesting.
No goal.
And there it is. I still don't know where the puck was in that whole entire situation. Last we saw it was in Cozzolino, and then it's MIA.
Well, it was a real forensic inspection, but when you've got 3 angles, and we've got cameras all around the Gagnon Hockey Centre, if you still can't identify where the puck is, then you would be a very brave man to say that the puck went in fairly and that Canada should be 2-0 up. So We're back on the ice once again, and it's still just the 1-0 lead for the Canadians. Dixon doing really well to juggle the puck away from Roybal. This might be difficult for both sides to get their pace back into this again, because America are on top, and they don't want incidents like that disrupting any sort of pattern of play that they have. But now Roybal, Bowden doing his best to get back. He's not going to do it. Roybal, big chance. Oh, and Larocque, as he just flicked that away with the helmet. He jumped out of his sledge and got enough on the puck, I think, to get it away. Now Westlake, the crowd back to life again. The pulse in this game regained as Dixon turns away. He's got Farmer in his back. It's a nice reverse from him, but only to Misovic. With a few chance for Roybal. Armstrong now does really well to control it under his sledge. Back for Westlake. This is a big moment, and Cash has saved it, but not got the glove on it again. And Hanning will sweep it away.
A good phase here. The Canadians try to take away Roybal's speed before he can get going. They can't do it the second time, as he just throws it in overdrive and shows you exactly what he's capable of doing. But then he was forced to the backhand. What a recovery by Bowden just to give him a poor angle.
Well, Canada really trying to swarm themselves around the puck, but they leave the space. That's an offside, and Misovic is in the centre there, looking around going, what, me? Even though he was about a metre over the blue line.
Well, this is a new combination in the second period. It's what Gosselin has gone with, and I expect he'll stay with now. You keep those two guns apart until you see how the game plays out. Now that they find themselves down behind, you put them together because you want to, sooner rather than later, get an equalizing goal. As Larocque stays with it, there's some room there by the blocker side, but I think he always feels that he can rise up and take away that short, high corner position. And then you often see sometimes, because they have to commit one of their hands to keep themselves square and upright, they only have the other in order to play any pucks elevated. And sometimes it forces them to have to use their head, literally, and that's what they got helmets for.
Kembabi's whiteboard is out again, the 63-year-old. The interesting thing about both these coaches is this is their first Paralympics taking full charge of their sides. Of course, Guy Gosling was the assistant coach for the United States when they won gold in Sochi 2014. But he is now the main man. And he's looking to get a third successive gold for the Stars and Stripes. Which sounds like it'd be a record in para ice hockey. Well, they've already got 2 successive gold medals, which is a record in itself. No other outfit has won more than 1 gold medal. Canada are looking to do just that after the one they won in 2006. In what is their third final, losing to Norway in 1998. But they're winning this one, although it's certainly not a position to be comfortable in. And this period, still got a long way to go after the stoppage with the incident surrounding the American crease. That's gone for icing, and this game needs to get back into its flow again. And if it does, you feel like that'd favour the USA, because they've been on top in the opening 5 minutes or so of period 2.
The Americans have some support options here that could be instrumental in this game. I would look for Adam Page. He's not scored in this tournament, but he is capable of goal scoring. They might need a goal from a secondary support option in this game to level it, to keep them in check.
Roybal, he's round the back, circling like a shark, and then Delaney just thumps into him and says, "You're not biting me." Roybal has gone back in again, and the opening is lost. But now the space for Canada, who again breaking that dynamic trio. Armstrong, Hickey ahead of him, and Delaney was on the far side. I think he may have been offside there. The linesman arm is up, and now Farmer with Misovic ahead. He's just ghosting in the centre circle. Now Misovic has stayed onside this time, and Farmer will release, and again Larocque saves, and again the stick is out. And once more, the Americans and the Canadians not exactly making friends with one another in the blue area, but Larocque has done his job once more.
Yeah, he has. And, you know, he's using that stick like a sword, isn't he? He looks like he's a samurai in there. Just the way he's using it, getting it up and having it. He pulls it back, but he's so active with the stick. It looks like his first defensive line as he there tries to get both hands together, and we don't see a lot of times the keepers with both hands together in their style. As we look at the shots now, they're getting back to level, and officially, well, the score clock saying 7 for Canada, but it was 5-0 at a point.
This has been a big improvement in the second period, but Canada are looking to catch the Americans cold, and that's going to be a penalty there. And it wasn't really needed, was it, against McGregor? And I think that's holding. He just stretched out the right glove. And it's interference. And so McGregor, the top scorer for Canada at these Paralympic Games, no arguments, is out for the next 2 minutes.
He got himself going in a fast lane, and then next thing you know, he was passed by a car that was just a little quicker. And he took exception to it, and he gets his glove up there with Quebec and gives him a little bit of a forearm shiver in the back of the head. And that'll get you a couple minutes for interference. And now the first look at the American power play, 8:52 to go in the second period. And you would sense that this is a moment for them to step up.
Absolutely. Here's Wallace. Got Westlake being drawn towards him. Now Misovic. Roybel's the deepest lying American, and he picks it up and goes towards the hash mark. Still going. Roybel on the left blade. And saved by Larocque at his near stick. Pauls. Got 2 square, and it's blocked, and this is the chance for Westlake. Has he got the pace to get away from the retreating Pauls? Wallace back there as well. Westlake loses his balance and fires it wide. Big opening for Canada on the shorthand, but Westlake just didn't have enough.
Wallace hunts him down, and Wallace, who's built a little bit more like a submarine than he is a quick speedboat, found a way to track him back.
Farmer gliding forwards once again. Beautiful stuff from him. Now Wallace, delicate touch for Roybel, and Arsenault had to be well on point with his defensive game there, and it's released Hickey, and Hickey went first time, and Cash was just looking at the puck, loop puck after he saved it, and hoping it wouldn't come back towards him. Pauls got Misovic trying to get away from Dixon in the centre. Roybel biding his time, and Farmer has got away from Hickey. Dixon comes across, but it's Declan Farmer who checked back, and Dixon made sure that Farmer was going to be going all the way with him.
Don't forget that play right there. That's an indication of the Canadians' ability to defend today. As Farmer looked as though he had created some opening, and Dixon matched him front up and took the puck right away and sent it the length of the ice. This
is a fantastic game of para ice hockey here in the gold medal game, as the Americans are chasing the Canadians right now. Those from north of the border leading by a goal to 0, and they have evaporated this power play so well, Canada. It's gone just like that, and they're back to full strength.
How about that play a moment ago from Dixon? He's got 3 Americans on him, and he decides with a presence of mind with the puck and them putting pressure on him to look at the clock to see how much time was left in the kill. Who does that? That's incredible.
McGregor seems to be the only one alive to the situation there, despite there being 3 back for the USA, but Paul's just was getting his body in the way so that McGregor couldn't get the puck before it went over the red line. It will be icing, but despite this being a positive period for the USA, their best opportunity has gone just like that.
That's the left-hand slinger from Brodie Roybel, and he'll just pull that off. He's got the 6-gun shooter from that position, and if he can get the angle on you, he'll put it right through the bullseye quicker than you could, well, quicker than you could watch.
Delaney just hogging the puck under his sledge, and he releases it. That'll go for icing, and once again, we will go to where we started.
There he is, Wallace. That was outstanding. The way he tracked Westlake down. Westlake looked as though he had some room to get going, and yes, there's a difference in age and, of course, maybe in miles on the odometer, but Wallace there just threw it into overdrive and took away an important little partial chance for the Canadians.
Well, once again, difficult to see where that puck has gone, but it's going to end up with Hanning. 32 years old, Hanning, but it's his first Paralympic Games. And of course, the door opening for him in this game due to the absence of both Karen and Landeros. Dodson on the retreat, immediately trying to get it back to where the Americans will want it, and that's in Canada territory, but Dixon has been such a stern test for the American defenseman so far. And again, he comes up on top.
Went into the Canadian conveyor belt there, and he came out a little shredded. That was Rico Roman. We haven't seen a lot of him in this matchup, as you're seeing Guy Goslin going with his top 2 units and trying to press the issue now, because while this goal is only a shot away, he knows the longer this game goes on, the more difficult that goal comes to bridge.
Well, that was confusion there between Pauls and McDermott, because Pauls was wanting to hold the puck until the Americans had all filtered back into the neutral zone. And they have now, but it's resulted in them being pegged right back behind their own goal line. And Roman spreads the puck long. Dodson giving chase. It won't go for icing, so this is not a lost cause by any means. Bridges is back there and just occupies the puck so closely to his sledge that the Americans, completely deceived, are now well aware where the puck is, but it might be too late. Westlake trying to get it into the space on the right-hand side for Bowden. And now Farmer. Hanning's in open space. Arsenault tracking across. He's got McDermott for support. The Americans are trying to make a couple of changes at the same time, and that was almost a bit of a mess. Roybal was blocking the exit for those coming off. And the USA mature enough to not get caught up in it there with too many on the ice. That's cannoned off Roybal, and Misevic will go for it against Arsenault. And that's going to be Roybal's all day long, is it? Cozzolino has got there. Maybe Roybal was tiring out a little bit because he didn't seem as quick onto the puck as he usually is. Hanning just batters it, and Misevic, big chance save. Misevic trying to get there again, and it seemed to take an age for Misevic to regain his balance and get back onto the second puck.
Misevic is like his own self-made car wash. He's got wipers, windshield wipers. He's got those. He just basically is a mechanized machine of just creating options on both sides of the blade and both hands.
Late swipe there from Farmer. The referee didn't budge. Roybal then dumping it towards the far side. Final 3.5 minutes of this period. It's been just as relentless as the first, but far more end-to-end. And I'd say the USA would win this on points, but they haven't got the main point on the board that matters.
Well, if we were marking them for artistic merit right now, I'm not sure they'd be getting 6s, but it's certainly been effective. Both of the sides playing and executing their routines, and they're playing to their personnel right now. The Americans don't have the depth without Lenderos and Karen. They recognize that. They're having to play a little bit of a setback game and waiting to counter-strike the Canadians coming forward. The Canadians aren't as overpowering offensively against the Americans. They're pretty well matched, so to a degree, it's almost a rope-a-dope. Can the Canadians find a second goal, or can they tire out a little bit? And in the meantime, the Americans just find a way to counter-strike them and just hit them where it hurts at the most crucial moment in a game.
Guy Goslin will be encouraged by this American performance in the last 10 minutes or so, but the anxiety will begin to creep in as the clock ticks down towards the second intermission.
But he knew after the first period that he had to change something up, and the reason being is that we saw a 1-goal result in the bronze medal game. I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but it could be the scoreline we see right now, defended for the remaining 18 and 5 seconds.
Credit to the Canadians, though. So many goals on the American side, and to keep them at bay so far is testament to their dogged work. Delaney. Well, that was a breakdown, so if ever I've seen one. That was superb in the court. He pirouetted and still just chopped away with the right stick away at the puck. Now it's not so pretty behind the goal. And the USA just want to get this out and quickly. It's Roman, Delaney, Hickey. You saw Wallace in there as well. Squirmed out for Armstrong. And maybe there's some room here as the Americans are chasing, but they have managed to block it as well. Wallace into the neutral zone. Again, Dixon, just looking like the calmest man on the ice. But he loses out that time to McDermott, and Armstrong will take it away from Larocque, who was ready to be called upon if needed.
That play by Armstrong right there is a world-class play. That's a game-winning, gold medal-winning play. The way he defended that right there in a very difficult situation.
Well, Hickey blasted over, and there was confusion with Dequebec. because he was charging towards his own goal and he thought the puck was going to roll alongside him, but it wasn't going at the same pace as him. And he was really struggling to stall and do something with the puck. That was successful, and Hickey had the moment there to punish them. And Tackleback again, not really getting his bearings, and Wallace just guiding it back towards Cash, who will bank it in.
And there's a classic example from Adam Dixon. He just plays the puck into an area that maybe is going to challenge the Americans, and it ends up being a face-off for Canada here in the offensive zone. This is a shot from Hickey. It had enough heat on it in which to maybe get past Cash. It wasn't quite accurate enough, but you see Cash throwing up the leather as quick as possible to get to it. And that's the difficult part for the keepers, is they, with the elevated hands above them, they have at least 2 feet of net above their head height. It's a difficult area of the net, obviously, of the goal to be able to defend.
Dixon mopping it up, and he does that so well, Dixon, from the face-off. It's very rare you see Canada in offensive territory that lose the puck into the neutral zone.
And the way they overlapped as well there, they understood who was going to take it, who was going to let it go, and how they were going to overlap to switch sides and to make sure that they kept square on that blue line.
Roybal, not seen much of him in the last couple of minutes. Now Misovic, that's a really good fire down the centre. The offload for Farmer is textbook. Farmer with a real opportunity, and it is saved by Larocque on the blocker on the right-hand side. And Roybal from deep, and that's gone over.
Larocque makes himself look like a shooter-tooter there, like he was strapped to the goal frame, and he just stays square and just very quiet and gets the blocker up and takes away that effort from Farmer. Farmer normally, in those situations, creates panic. He creates fear. In that situation, Larocque looked him straight down the barrel of the gun and said, "Not today."
Dixon putting his cap on it again. Pressure from Farmer. And Canada trying to play their way out from deep. Arsenault didn't really wrap his stick around that as he would have liked. Again, Dixon is there. It's like he's got a time machine, Dixon. He seems to see things in the future, a few more seconds prior to anybody else. He knows exactly where to be at the right time, and his radar is just as strong in this game as it has been so far in the tournament. And there he was first to Wallace, who has come out on top, and Roybal will he try and arc his way around. He's clattered into by Arsenault, and the clock is over just like that, losing complete track of time. This is such an engrossing gold medal game here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre, but no goals in the second period. United States, you would argue, ever so slightly had the advantage, but then we had the major stoppage where Canada thought they'd got the puck over the line. The referee wanted to make sure and went to review. It was inconclusive, and at the break, Canada are still the ones in front.
That was going to be a bonus goal for Canada. I don't think they were expecting, because they didn't really create anything. All they got really was the suction of 3 American defenders who just beelined back, and just everything went towards the goal. And as a result of just the movement of everybody going in that direction, they almost got a bonus goal. But as we rest after 30 minutes, it's that goal from Bridges still in the first frame. That's the difference in a gold medal game.
즐겁게 끝내주고 주시기 바랍니다. 핸들링을 좀 하고.
The second period revealing a little bit more promise of a gold medal classic as the 8 shots from the USA now levels the shots in the games overall as they both have 8. It was 5 for Canada in the opening 15 and nothing for USA as they spent the majority of that opening period, I think in many ways, adjusting to the fact that they don't have Nico Landeros or Tyler Caron in their lineup. They found a way to respond, and they came back in the second period much better. The face-offs very similar, an advantage to the Canadians, not quite as dominant as it was in the first period. They both have had the power plays in this game. They've not been able to convert, but there was greater activity from the Americans. They are great on the counter. They're great on transition. Generally, the chances that they do create coming from Roybal and Farmer, their speed, they get those opportunities sometimes when they're penalty killing. But it was a much more convincing second frame from the USA as we look at it here. This is just a whipping shot in from Roybal. He's getting to a tight angle, and Larocque, for my money, has been the best Canadian player on the ice. They have all played well. Armstrong, Dixon up front with Bridges scoring the goal, but Larocque has been tested here at times and has stayed square to the shots. He's taken his moments. He's made the saves here. Misevic, he just drives right through him there. That didn't end up being a penalty, but maybe could have been. And then Larocque here on the little flip reverse from Roybal just uses his head. He's proven himself from moving from a forward in this sport to then going into goal. He's earned this right to be in a gold medal game. I mean, you don't get this spot unless you are potentially going to be a difference maker, and he's proving to be that right now in this game, as he has not conceded yet. And for him, he's hoping not at all over 45 minutes. Is this the shot from Farmer? Comes in. Farmer generally, as I've said, when he shoots the puck from a distance, he generally has speed behind it, and that's deceptive, and he generally has great location. As you see Roybal here as well, testing Larocque, and you see how square he has maintained his position to the American shooters. And Cash with a couple of shots, but not as much activity in that second period. Hickey from a short angle, it's always a good play. It just creates, but that save is a wonderful one. That's all about the stick handling, because players, other goalkeepers, do not handle their stick as well. And he had gone from left to right, and it come back to the right again, and he had left that part of the goal, but his stick work prevented that from being an American goal. Is this the work in and around Cash? And then a chance here from the angle, and Larocque just stays square to the shot. He's out above the paint, and Misevic gets hit by Arsenault. I think he overcommits there, to be honest. And then Farmer, where he doesn't have anywhere to look. Maybe he's got short side, but Farmer thinks the advantage is to go long side, because he's able just to hold that puck back and then recoil it up and release it and change the direction. But he was not fooling the Rock in the Canadian goal. And the 1-0 scoreline that currently stands for the Canadians, it could very well stand for 15 more minutes here. It's going to get interesting in the back end, in the business end now of the gold game.
The next goal, absolutely crucial here as the two sides come back onto the ice. The first time that these two sides have met at the Paralympics for a medal of any colour. The highest stage that they previously met was in the semi-finals of Sochi 2014.
I just still can't believe that stat. It's unbelievable, considering where these nations have been in this tournament, but it's exactly the truth. We are obviously only talking about Paralympics and not World Championships.
Yeah, they've occupied the 3 last World Championship finals, Canada winning 2 of those, and the Americans the one in 2015 on their own patch. So one last huddle for the Americans in white, who will be going from right to left in this final period. Canada already spread out and in position for puck drop.
Well, I would have bet that Misevic is going to be involved for the U.S. He's had an outstanding hockey game. Bridges, who just took the bull by the horns, and he rode it. He saddled up. He got on, and it was bucking and snorting, but he found a way to ride it to that first Canadian goal. And Misevic is a very similar character with all of his application of strength and size and reach and ambidextrous nature. He could be involved for the Americans.
Whatever happens here, both of these sides will recruit and get a 5th Paralympic medal in para ice hockey, which equals a Norwegian record. But the USA, they want that 4th. Canada want their 2nd gold, their first in 12 years. Will it be theirs? We'll find out in the next 5 minutes. And away we go, the final period, and Canada on top early. McGregor getting a clattering into by the American captain, Pauls. Farmer immediately looking to get to work. Westlake tracking him all the way, but Farmer does really well and spears it away as well with the right blade, despite being checked by McGregor. And the linesman's reflex is almost as good as Larocque's there, getting out of the way of that flying puck. There will be a penalty coming up, and it will be against Canada. I'm not quite sure who. Here's the guilty party or what for, but Pauls might not need a penalty after all here. Roman, and now Roybal. Hanning. They've gone 6 on 5 here, the USA, on this delayed penalty. And you can see the extra man counting. Farmer, he's wanting an option. Hanning, they're protecting the puck here. They're not wanting Canada to get a touch. They would rather get the goal now. Roybal spitting it back to Farmer, who's got a bit of an angle. And Larocque made that look so comfortable, as we will now have the Canada penalty.
it's a very valid point that you don't get more for a goal if you score at the end of the power play that you're allocated to the 2 minutes. You might as well, if you can, score on the delayed call and just finish the job, because there's no guarantee that when you get the 2 minutes that you're going to score on it. So take a chance if it's available to you, as Bridges just gets up the elbow. That's pretty much the people's elbow. In that instance, it's the Bridges elbow, as it goes right into the American, and a roughing call against double B's. And now the Canadians elect to call a timeout, because this could very well be a turning point in this game. And rather, sorry, it's the United States. It's the Canadians we see coming across, but they officially call it. And you can see Goslin. Goslin knows that this side here today does not have as full a tank as it normally does. And they're basically trying to get across a desert here of possibility in this gold game on vapors. And can they, just at the right time, push into the corner and have a little bit of a downhill run here where they don't have to use as much fuel?
Well, the Americans in the crowd are certainly getting right behind the boys on the ice. And they had the fair share of the action in the second period. They're quiet in the first, and maybe Guy Goslin's plan all along was for the first period to be on the defensive and then spring in the second, or maybe it was just a complete readjustment and an acceptance he may have got it wrong.
I think he recognized that he had to probably go with what it had been in order for continuity and consistency, rather than blowing it up in the gold game. So when he saw it wasn't working out, he had to retool.
5 on 4 in America's advantage, and this is their second power play of the game. They couldn't make the first one count when McGregor was in the box. How about now with Bridges in that destination? Roybal. Oh, nice reverse for Wallace, and oh, that was ambitious. He took a nick on the way through. You see with the flight of the puck really changing its trajectory there as it came short side. And now Dixon, surely he's not going to get out of that situation. He didn't on that occasion, but even then it took two Americans to stop him. Dixon now battling away with Farmer. Around the back is Misevic, and that was probably not the wisest thing to put it back in there. Could he have taken it round the net? I'm not too sure, but the Rock gets the final contact.
The Rock has been the steadiest pair of hands for the Canadians in this game. As you look at Misevic, and he's forever wearing his heart on his sleeve. He's got his sleeves tucked right up, as he's the last one to get a touch of it here, and he tries to get enough of it to bank it through the Rock. But you talk about that Brodie Roybal move, it's a generational move. And we're going to call it the Roybal, because simply he's the only one that does it. There's a couple of other players that are doing it now. It's a little bit of the reverse flick that you might see in football, but it's a move very similar that we see a generational move in hockey right now, where players are doing the toe drag on the back of the blade. Roybal will do it again in this game, and it's simply a Roybal from now on.
Nice from Farmer, a bit more orthodox from him. Wallace is clattered into, pulls with a loose pickage. Misevic, big chance. Farmer, surely one of them. Oh, it's got away from him. Still Farmer on the turn wide.
Unbelievable.
Was that one pass too far or one touch of the puck too far? I'm not too sure. But the Americans there trying to score the perfect goal on the power play. It's not the time to be doing it in the gold medal game, one behind.
The question is, was that 1 second too late to wait when the window was available to you, and then you just hesitated? And unfortunately, that's not a Farmer-esque type of move. Farmer is a punch first, ask questions later kind of player, and he looks considered in what he's doing here today, and those extra considerations are not favoring him.
Really nice work from Misevic. You can see what Farmer's trying to do. He's trying to get the wider angle and deceive Larocque, who was on the edge of his sledge there, but not forced into making the save. Farmer, his own worst enemy.
But in the second shot, that was still on. Forget the first one, the second one was still live, where he could have just taken a slingshot with an arrow and put it to the top left of the goal, and it went wide. Farmer, to me, doesn't look to be the player that we've seen throughout the entire tournament in this game today.
Well, this is the second penalty kill for Canada, and I have to say, I've not seen the power play clock go down so quickly as it has done when Canada have been on the kill in this game. Yes, there've been on the ropes a wee bit from the Americans, but they just seem to see out what is a couple of phases. It's not like the Americans could come time after time. They've only had a couple of opportunities on the power play, and on both occasions they've failed to make it count. McKee does well to nudge that back for McDermott. McGregor was in the right place at the right time. Back to the blue line it goes with Hanning now. He's got two on the near side, both tapping away in unison. He ignores both of them. He was too caught up with Westlake's presence. And now goes McGregor away from Pauls. Westlake up with him. And Westlake, he's onside Westlake, as McGregor then tries to find him.
Sometimes it's been a little bit of where is the puck, as it was kind of for a second. You thought it was going to go one way, and then it gets kind of caught up in the sled. But this is important. This is playing defense in the offensive zone right now for Canada. Just logging the puck, congesting the play, not making it easy for the Americans to get out on the offense.
Canada under 11 minutes away from a gold medal perhaps, and oh, they almost capped it off there over the bar. The door still open for the USA to try and take the opportunity by the scruff of the neck.
That's an interesting play there. Bridges, a five-time Paralympian, who is the first one back on that puck, out-racing some of the American forwards. That is a man who is committed to the cause today and is playing the game with a sharp, clear mind. And that's a little bit of the difference between the two sides in the way this game has played out so far.
That Canadian plug back in force once again. The USA is not getting the spaces that they want. There's another roar goes up from the crowd, and they'll be off the feet in a minute as Hickey has it and loses out to Farmer. Roman was there as well.
That play from Farmer, who sends it across to Roy de Roybal. Even these two, they do not look as energized as normally you would see them.
Farmer still putting in the hard graft. And you have to bear in mind that the Americans here, particularly the offensive ones, are doing more defensive work than they will have done in the tournament combined.
Never a truer statement has been made, because these sides, it's just the one goal that has been scored against the Americans in this tournament prior to the Billy Bridges goal, and that was off a little bit of a broken play, and it was against the Italians. So this is the second goal only that they've conceded this entire tournament. They don't spend a lot of time in their own zone.
Dixon again just leaving the chaos behind him as Roman goes into the linesman. Bowden now for Hickey, and Cozzolino is the furthest man forward. Then he goes into Wallace, space in the centre for McGregor perhaps, but it's hard to get the puck out from the board when Wallace is going for it like he was there. And from one 19-year-old American to the other Roybal now, trying to get in the back of Westlake. Not once but twice with the arms in the back and just trying to ruffle up the feathers of the Canadian captain.
There's a little bit of talking going on there as well. It's a little bit of Roybal's game. I'm pretty sure he talks some of the best smack in the business.
Now McGregor pulls on a bit of string here as McGregor goes in and out of him, and Paul, whether he meant it or not, just got the stick out there and nudged the puck away. Big moment as Paul's this time locking horns with Westlake and Bridges. Interesting to know how much of this game has been spent with the puck along the board.
It'd be interesting as well to know just how many kilometers that they've traveled on their sleds and just the amount of work that's been done in each zone. Here's Bridges.
Well, almost another bit of magic again from Bridges, this time Cash equal to it. And this is Hanning now, really making tracks, and there seems to be so much room ahead of him as Canada there had two in their own defensive zone. The stick goes flying in what seemed to be a lost cause.
That stick almost is a benefit to the Americans in that instance. It's picked up by the referee, Nikolic, realizing that it could have been wrapped around. Maybe the Canadians got out, but it kept the play alive for the Americans because it went off it, and now it's been an icing ultimately against the Canadians. And you saw how quickly, you don't normally see the referees get involved in picking up the equipment, but he didn't want that to carry on being an influence on anything going on in the Canadian defensive zone.
Yeah, it looks like it was Declan Farmer's stick. And McGregor also went to the bench on the far side pretty slowly as well. Didn't look as if he was meaning too much business, but Canada setting their stall and getting ready to defend the face-off here. USA leading on the shot count by 10 shots to 9. Hickey Again, just overdoing it somewhat. And Deckelbeck is marshalling the area and chaperones the puck away. And a slant towards the near side will favour Westlake. Bridges, sorry. Fellow veteran. Bridges. Oh, weaving beautifully onto the right blade, and that's a big save from Cash, who extended the right arm there and just glanced it away.
Great work from Bridges. He had the puck in front of him, so to get a shot off as well as he did was a very impressive move. Generally, the shots come from the side of the sled, not from out in front, but I thought he was going to go to left hand. It just shows you how much he prefers the power that he develops from the right.
Interesting there. Delaney had the puck in the first instance of that skirmish. Looked back for Dixon on the blue line. He was in Akers' room and just shook his head. Dixon favouring the idea of just keeping the puck in that corner. And like you say, just nullifying the pressure furthest up the ice.
Yeah, it's about game management right now, and puck management starts. It's puck management, develops the game management, and ultimately develops the gold medal management, and that's what Canada's doing right now.
This the save from Cash, who was the best goalie at the Vancouver 2010 games.
Well, he has been the best in the business, has Cash, but that's one of the challenges for playing for USA. You don't get a lot of activity, and there's no fault to Cash, but I'm sure that he would love to have another crack at the Bridges goal, because that puck basically eats him up, and that doesn't happen to a Steve Cash. But when you don't face a lot of rubber in live play and only in practice and only in warm-ups, you're probably not always as sharp and as executed with your technical application of how you need to be set, because you just don't do it enough. And I know that's maybe sounds a little bit of a hypercritical remark to make, but it's the truth. They just don't get enough shots to be that ready against a high-quality opponent like the Canadians.
Here goes Hickey. And he's got Hanning right where he wants him across, and Delaney agonisingly just couldn't stretch far enough. Cash was trying to deny that from going all the way across. He failed to do so, but the puck had too much zip on it for Delaney as well, and the Americans get away with the scare. Canada seem to have really took the sting out of the game in the last few minutes.
They're playing a very mature game. I think they all understand that they're on the same page, and they're doing what is required of them as asked. Here they come, though, U.S.
Roybal, his moment perhaps, and saved by Larocque. It was low and it was zipping, but again denied.
Well, you see Roybal gives Cozzolino a shove there, and that's what it's all about, because basically Cozzolino takes away Roybal's time and space as we look at this play across the goal, and it's there. I don't know if he's going to score if he gets a touch of it, but Cash is totally outstretched, and I still think there's room to get it past the glove, but Delaney, it was just beyond his reach.
Now goes McGregor, just caught up there, and he's looking at his sledge. Maybe there was a technical problem, I'm not too sure, but it certainly caught up on the blue line. Now Westlake, he's lost his balance. Roybal trying to nonchalantly flick it forwards, and now Farmer. Lisovic trying to get in position centrally and take Arsenault out of the game. Then McGregor is the man in the centre, clogging things up. Dixon with the release of Bridges. Up with him Westlake, and Westlake with a chance, and it's saved by Cash. Massive moment. Just as importantly, McGregor wasn't quick enough to get there either. Now they're on the retreat as Pauls comes forwards for the USA. Laterally cannons it towards the near side. McGregor through. He's not got the pace to get to that, and it will go for icing.
That's an example of the American defense just breaking down a little bit. You can only be fortified for so long when you haven't got who is your linchpin and is your biggest minute carrier, and you're also your biggest puck possessor, physical presence on the blue line, and just your leader in Landeros. And Cash makes another dynamite save, but the defense opening up a little bit more than usual in the American third of the ice.
McKee stretching to keep things going, and he succeeded Deckelbeck. Nice flick back from McDermott, who was trying to return it there to the American number 3. And McKee doing likewise, and Deckelbeck just doing the hokey-cokey right now, because twice he was being asked off for the puck. to at least be in the right area, and he was going the other way.
Well, it's one thing to do the hokey-cokey, but then when you have to turn yourself around, you need to make sure that you're staying involved in it, and the Americans have done well here. That's a good play, just to throw it to the net and just create some mayhem.
Now McKee. Oh, America beginning to have the wind put back into their sail. Very good from McKee, industrious stuff, and hit by Dixon. And McKee there, the puck's gone. He doesn't know. And it's gone to the other side. He was still fidgeting away to try and remove it. McGregor.
That's a great play by McGregor. It's just buying time and space. It allows 3 new Canadian players to come on. Have they been penalized, though? I think it's going to be an icing, actually, against the Americans. But that play by McGregor, it was only a 40-foot maneuver. But what it allowed, it has 3 new Canadian players to come on, and then ultimately it ended up being either delayed offside, I'm not sure, or an icing against the Americans. But the face-off is in the American third now.
The clock's still rapidly ticking by, and there are 4 minutes to go of the gold medal game. This third period has gone by a flash. But for Canada, the clock will feel very slow soon, because you expect one last wave of pressure from the Americans, surely, to rescue this game.
And Hickey looks as though he's been injured. He's certainly down. He hasn't moved a whole lot. Now you're seeing that the bodies are just a little bit upright and kind of all over the place, but this is really just, I think both sides just putting a little bit of ointment on the sting right now that the Americans are feeling, because they realize they haven't quite got what they want today in being able to break down this Canadian defense, and I think they feel very much like this 351 is not going to be enough in order for them to try and find an equalizing goal.
Well, you can see McKee just sending Hickey flying. He's looking up, he's thinking, wait for it, yeah, there you go. Hope he braced himself as the 2 number 23s clash.
Well, Rico Roman comes in there and pretty much does a DDT on Liam Hickey as he just drives his head right into the boards there. And I think he did pretty well not to have been penalized, considering how Hickey was prone on the ice there.
Ken Babby, the mastermind 12 months ago of Canada, winning the 2017 World Championships here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre against the Americans. This not quite the ruthless offensive display that we had on that day, but still as efficient so far. Armstrong. A second for Canada now will surely put this out of sight. Westlake's there. The cries of USA go around the arena. As Pauls looks to spearhead a charge. Now Roybal takes it wonderfully. Misevic on the near side. He's found. Misevic against Bridges. And Bridges just got the upper hand there because Misevic couldn't get the puck flat.
Well, you saw them breaking. They just were hovering around their own blue line. They took it in speed. Misevic had the one defender to take on, but the Canadians came back. They supported in numbers. They ended up getting 4 players below the puck. What I mean by that is 4 players between the puck and their own goal.
Dixon into the neutral zone, swatted by Pauls and kept it alive around the blue line, but it's still with Canadian sticks. Bridges against Wallace. Bridges has lost his stick, but look at that, he's still keeping his balance. He's just leaning down on his right-hand side, and he may have just lost his second stick there as well.
He was doing his best example of a one-legged duck there as he just swam around treading water until he got some support.
Now Bridges with full ammunition. Great challenge by Roybal. Breaks for Farmer, who just puts it back into the centre and hopes that Misevic can make something of it. Dixon. Well, rare error from him. And Roybal had Misevic bursting down the middle. Couldn't get to it.
The support from Delaney is an example of what the Canadians have. A little bit of extra depth. He supported Dixon, and now Dixon ends up with that puck again. It's like a magnet on a stick. He's a little bit heavy here in how he's cleared it. But that sequence there of having the support of Delaney coming back to underpin what Dixon maybe wasn't able to execute in the first attempt, that depth and quality is the reason why the Canadians are holding this 1-0 lead.
2 minutes remaining. How long is it before we say goodbye to Steve Cash? and the Americans go 6 on 5. Won by Farmer. Here's Roybal. Surely he can mastermind something. If you're going to do it, you do it now. Pauls was just spinning around there. The connection from Delaney not helping his cause, and Delaney's come on top, and Cotolino could be through. I don't think he was quite prepared. Now Cash, will this be his final involvement? Farmer picking it up from deep. He's got Roybal and Misevic ahead of him, and now Wallace on the near side. Nice interchange between the two. Farmer is going away from McGregor, who loses his stick, and still Farmer. Wonderful solo run. Give it to him and pray. Farmer saved by LaRock. And then Misevic hammers into Arsenault. That's off the puck, and the linesmen are quickly into that. Cash has left the ice, and so the Americans are throwing everything at it for the final 121.
Well, they have to. As you look at the play here from Farmer, the shot in. LaRock takes the first one, he collects and tidies it up. You see Arsenault and Misevic get themselves involved in a human tornado as they wrap up in the para ice hockey pretzel. It's going to be United States of America with the empty goal now. Cash, has he come up $1 short and maybe a day late here as far as that one shot being the difference in this game. The Bridges goal, and Bridges then takes an important key face-off and wins it.
LaRock at the other end saving 13 out of 13. The Americans holding the upper hand when it comes to the shot count. Is there one last shot in them to take this once and for all? Or can Armstrong crown this hit? Armstrong closing in, has hit the post. And that there was Canada surely winning their first goal since 2006, but the Americans still with hope. Wallace cannons into the centre. They've got to manage this puck better because they've got the open goal behind them. Now it's Roybal ghosting away from one. Roybal's got options square. It's come back. Panic. Farmer!
What is going on?
Declan Farmer! 37 seconds left on the clock. Has caused carnage here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre. It looked like it was never going to go in. And Canada couldn't sweep it away. And Farmer had no choice this time. He had to hit it first time. And LaRock is finally beaten. Canada won, USA won.
What a devastating strike here late with 37.8 remaining. And Roybal and Farmer arrive and create the chaos here as one provides to the other. They bookend an equalizing goal in the last minute, and you could almost see from Farmer's face a tear in his eye. It was like an emotional exhale. As they have felt the pressure, they have felt a void in this game, and they just found a way to bridge it.
Fourteenth shot lucky for the United States of America. You do not write off a three-time Paralympic gold medalist.
That was unbelievable. Unbelievable. A post hit on an empty goal at one end. That is how fine the margins are between these two nations.
And as the seconds tick down, I can't see many more bits of action occurring. And it's just funny with Farmer getting his 10th of the tournament. A bit hesitant earlier on in the game to get his shots away, but he knew at the last there, I've just got to hit this and hope. And goodness me, he's counting his lucky stars, and they've come up trumps because the United States have forced this game into overtime right at the death. They went all out with the empty net, 6 on 5. And Canada pegged back, and if they are going to get their first gold medal in 12 years, they're going to have to wait 5 minutes more.
So in this situation, in a gold medal game, we will have a full ice clearance as we prepare for an extra time period. And after full time in a gold medal game, who could believe it? Well, the Americans could. They find a way to level it inside the last minute, the 45th minute. And we are going to go deep into maybe the night in the Gangneung Hockey Center. Stay with us. The overtime period awaits in this thriller.
3피리어드까지 무승부인 관계로 10분간의 휴식 시간 후 15분간의 서든데스 연장전이 시작될 예정입니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, the intermission before overtime will be 15 minutes. 12 minutes, 50 seconds remaining.
3피리어드까지 무승부였던 관계로 15분간의 휴식 시간 후 15분간의 서든데스 연장전이 시작될 예정입니다.
turn your attention to the video board for highlights from the third period.
3피리어드 경기 주요 장면입니다.
Here we go. As this a look at the third period, USA doubled the shots on goal of the Canadians. And are they getting better as the game goes on?
All right, fans.
Well, hard to know really, but if you look at the shots here, they have outshot the Canadians in the remaining, 14 shots to 6 in the second and third period combined. So that would be an indication of overall activity. It looked as though the Canadians, I wouldn't say that they've taken their foot off the gas, but they haven't had to push as hard. They thought maybe one goal was going to do it. They had an empty netter. As 57.5 on the face-offs, that started to level itself out here. They neither have been successful on the power play, and now the Americans just nosing ahead now with the overall shots on goal. You've got to, in this instance, potentially, as we look and get ready for this overtime period, favor the Americans because they now have the prevailing wind at their back for a majority of this game, particularly in the first 15 minutes. And as we move through the first half of the game, they must have felt a little bit like they were skating with the wind in their face. But as the game has gone on, the winds have changed, have given them what looks to be a possibility of a chance to shine in the extra time here now coming. Larocque has been clean with his glove. He doesn't flinch at any point in this third period. This one, he looks to be beaten. He's bunny hopping to get himself back into a position to be able to front it up against Farmer. If Farmer has that under control, I'm pretty sure that's a goal. So if you want to really shake it out on the balance of play, maybe the Farmer late goal is fair return, given that he would have scored that one. But he didn't control the puck, so equally, you've still got to put it in the net. Just because you had beaten the keeper, you got to put it past the goal line. As you see the plays across the face of goal, Cash totally outstretched. Delaney couldn't reach to it. That's a great shot there from Westlake. Even better save, though, by Cash, because this is one of these saves. I mean, he makes that low. How tough is that? Because most of the expectancy from the keepers is the elevated shot with their hands, and he just knifes that one down the blocker. And then Armstrong, an empty net, maybe from here on an angle he's got it, and what he does is he feathers it. He needed to fight it. He needed to fire it with everything he's got, and you don't, do you? Because you're afraid of missing and starting the opponent's breakout. He goes off the post, dead nuts, and then the rest happens as Roybal takes this shot, and he tries to feed it across the poles, and where does it ricochet to? But the Farmer in the field, waiting to pluck the harvest, and it just was a beautiful ripe red to plummet into the top of the left corner. And that's a goal the Canadians could ill afford to give up, because now the gates are open for the Americans to come out firing in this overtime period. As you watch a rather subdued and, of course, relieved expression of emotion on the American bench, but you see a level and mature approach from the Americans in the game so far. How will the Canadians respond in the opening minute of the overtime period? That will be very indicative of what to expect from the Canadians. Are they licking their wounds, or are they ready to go and man up and take this American big machine down?
I think Canada will have benefited that in the gold medal game, the intermission between regulation and overtime is extended to what it would have been in the round robin. So more time to collect the thoughts and lick the wounds and then come back out on the ice and make something of it again, because this gold medal is going to have to be earned, and the Americans have made sure of that.
Bridges, I expect that he will be involved in any Canadian offense. He has had an outstanding game. He has scored the lone goal on the board for Canada, but he's been great on the face-offs. He's been physical on the boards. He has been smart with his retention of the puck, and he has very much been a center of influence and energy that these Canadian players are working off of. Josh Pauls was the option for Roybal on the Farmer goal. Pauls was going through as a drive-through option, and it got broken up on the way to Pauls, and then ricochets here to Farmer, who has had his crops well seated in the field earlier in the first period when it looked like he could have scored then. This time, he plucks himself a treat.
So we are going all the way here in the gold medal game. Canada won, the United States of America won. As we count down to puck drop in overtime, and the interesting complexion here is that both sides lose a skater, and maybe the extra spacers would favour the Americans of Farmer and Roybal. We'll wait and find out. The two goal scorers are in the centre circle, ready for puck drop here in the gold medal game. Who will get the vital goal to win top prize? This is the third time in Paralympic history that a gold medal game has gone to the overtime. The last time in 2002 in Salt Lake, and the Americans won that one, but it had to go to the shootout against Norway. That was their first of three gold medals. They're looking to make it a fourth, and already a heavy start in the overtime period of 15 minutes. It's Farmer. The Americans going from left to right here. Roybal has it, trying to cut it back again. This time McGregor was wise to it.
You'd be surprised with the likes of a Declan Farmer and Roybal if it went beyond this overtime period.
Farmer low and blocked by Bridges. And certainly the Americans are using the goal late on in regulation as a token of momentum for the start of overtime. But it's well snuffed out by Canada, who come forward now with the experienced duo of Westlake and Bridges, and then that was Dixon. And how often do you see him with a stick handling error?
Oh, he was in a position there. That could have come right down from the top of the circle. It's been the moment the Canadians have been waiting for.
Bridges checking into Farm. I don't think the puck was anywhere near the scene, however. And it's recycled for Dixon now. He's got Westlake there. Westlake moment. He's forced out wide by Farmer. Back on defensive duty. And then it's slipped back with too much to handle for Bridges. And now it's that duo of Roybal and Farmer to win gold. Oh, what a save by Larocque.
I don't know how he made it, but it's an incredible save. It has kept them on for a gold, as he had them totally dead to rights.
I think that's hit the pad on the leg, because he was moving out towards the right-hand side and Farmer was trying to hit it where it came from. It is a mesmerising save from Dominic Larocque. An exquisite move, a quick move from the Americans, as you'd expect. But Canada have their goaltender to thank. Here's Farmer again, who's really trying to win it here. And if he does get the next goal, then he will equal the Paralympic record of 11 goals in the Paralympic Games.
It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Roybal or Farmer leave the ice, for how long they're going to have a shift here. They're over 2 minutes now as here comes Canada.
Hickey with some real pace, and he nearly won it. Cash saves it. It's still alive away from Wallace. Blocked by Cozzolino. Oh, goodness me. Both sides now bringing their offensive A game to the table after it was the defensemen who were on top for so long in regulation. Hickey trying to give Wallace the ice. He's going to give him the run around as well on the outside. And Roybal getting involved with Delaney. As Canada use this opportunity to make a change at the back. With Armstrong on now. Armstrong, of course, the man who could have won that gold medal for sure at the back end of regulation. Wallace dumping it forward. It was almost slammed back down by Hickey, but that would have been tremendous had he managed to execute it. Not so handsome this time as he spread out on the ice and trying to keep things going. Occupied now by Farmer, who's really coming alive after seeming pretty hesitant in regulation when it mattered. Now Pauls, big opportunity for the captain, Pauls, and he fluffed it and Hickey came across.
Farmer on the puck has been out there for 3.5 minutes now to start this overtime.
Farmer! Oh, he's got it! That's why he's on the ice. That's why he is the prominent man for the United States. And he is the match winner. He is the gold medal winner. And oh my goodness me, what a finale. Gold medal, number 4 for the United States of America in para ice hockey. And their grit and their dominance of this sport just gets tighter and firmer.
Well, to sum it up, and sadly to say for the Canadians, they've snatched themselves a silver medal right out of the mouth of having gold, as they were totally in control in the majority of this game, and a late goal in the regulation last minute of play opened the door to the dynamic duo who are able to go long, they're able to go deep, and they're able to go wide. And what you saw here was a full dimensional finish from Declan Farmer, who is a phenomenal para ice hockey player, and between him and Roybal, they are generational. They are changing the sport.
And they had to play it different today, the Americans. You have Roybal and Farmer so often inside the defensive zone in the first period. Then it changed. They were on the ice together on that front line. And they got the break right at the back end of regulation. Farmer slamming that home with no problems at all. And then the exquisite control to just drag it inside and unleash a rocket past Larocque has won the gold medal for the United States. Canada 1, USA 2.
And whilst we don't want to emphasize it, how do you think Rob Armstrong is feeling right now for Canada? He was the player who had a chance to score the second goal when Cash had been pulled in favor of an extra outskater in the last minute of play, and he went right off of the American post, and it came out, and it came down the ice, and they did the almighty dirty on the Canadians with a 37.8 second remaining strike to give him a chance to push on and to retain the gold medal in a top position on the podium in para ice hockey. What a devastating turn of events, and you'll see that in most team sports. There are windows of opportunity that you must hit. You've got to step through, and if you don't, more often than not, you leave yourself exposed for the difficult return from the opposition.
A fourth gold in 5 Paralympic Winter Games for Team USA, and that elusive second gold for Canada. The wait continues. Even some of the athletes from other sports, Oksana Masters, cross-country and biathlete, here to celebrate her teammates to get another gold. They're sitting pretty at the top of the medal table right now, the United States, but I don't know how many medals they'll have won this week that were as close as that.
I don't think they fully appreciate as yet just what they achieved here today, because in my thoughts, without Landeros on the ice, I wasn't sure that they had enough to manage the Canadians. But what's happened here is, again, when you're a winner and you create a habit of winning, it becomes difficult to lose. And the Americans have created a culture of gold medal glory at the Paralympic Games that they just simply wouldn't be denied. They simply wouldn't accept that it was going to slip from their grasp as easy as it appeared to be going over the course of the majority of this hockey game.
It's been a hard year as well.
On the ice, of course, telling the stories, the devastation of the defeat for Canada, who will have felt as though they had one hand on a gold medal in this game. Unfortunately, it was not to be. They are desperate to return to the top of the podium, as this was some sort of drama and some sort of devastation for the Canadians who thought they were there. The Americans, again, are able to pull a magic trick right out of their bag of tricks, and they have proven to all that are watching in para ice hockey that they have a deep complement of weapons to choose from, and equally styles in which that they can find victory. We will now move through the stages as we prepare for the presentation of the medals. There will be the return of the Republic of Korea, who won the bronze medal in day number 8, and they will return to the ice in their street clothes. And of course, we'll get a rapturous applause here from this mostly Korean crowd. And then the Americans, the Canadians, and all of the rest of the international flavor that is inside the Gangneung Hockey Center will see the spectacle that it is. The final awarding of medals for what has been a fantastic journey over the 9 days of this tournament. It's been as good and I think better than what we saw in the World Championships a year ago.
Absolutely, and a much closer final, that's for sure as well. In 2017, Canada really rocked the United States with that victory by 4-1. But on this occasion today, Canada had the upper hand in the first period, and you felt as if with the way the Americans had set their stall out to soak up Canada pressure, it wasn't working. And Guy Gosling, he went out there and changed it for the second period, and that really affected the complexion of the game. Farmer finally, at the end of the third, got the American goal. You felt as if it was deserved, maybe not as harshly as that on Canada, but when it went to overtime, with both sets of skaters going down a man, you felt as though the Americans would be able to penetrate that extra space a little bit more.
Well, just before the goal, we were reminding that it was 3.5 minutes into the overtime period, and Declan Farmer and Roybal were still out there. And I guarantee you, they weren't leaving that ice. They were going to go to score that goal early so they didn't have to have a 6 or 7 minute shift. But if they had to have, they were going to take it. They were the guys that were most likely going to score. Misevic could have come out, Wallace could have come out, they could have had a few different options. But when you have that type of supreme quality in your shooting arsenal, well, you're going to try to go to them and stay with them. As the looks tell the story for the Canadians, I think not only are they stunned and a little bit disheartened, but there is a level of shock that has gone through this crowd and also the players. They are still wondering why that had to work out like that.
Well, that's quite a scene, isn't it? And you feel for Canada, only 3 members of this roster were there winning a gold medal in 2006 in Turin. Billy Bridges, the scorer, Brad Bowden and Greg Westlake. And the likes of Arsenault that you see there, they haven't tasted that glory yet, and I don't think they're going to come closer without winning.
It's a fair comment to make, and if you look at the personality of the way that Arsenault plays, he's a very steady hand. He's a very stable, sensible player on the blue line, and you can see the volcano of emotions just emitting themselves here now. They simply cannot contain what their expectation was, what their belief was, the journey that they've taken to get here. And unfortunately for the Canadians, they've just come up a goal short.
A 5th medal for Canada in para ice hockey Paralympic history, the 2nd being silver. But they would have loved another mark on the tally next to that gold. As for the United States, it's yet another gold for them, their 4th. And they are the only Paralympic outfit in para ice hockey to have won more than 1 gold medal anyway in history. And to get 4 is really emphatic. And of course, tough for the Americans after the World Championship defeat last year. They also lost their coach just prior to that as well, Jeff Sauer, who I'm sure will be well in the minds of the Canadians. They have a tribute for him in the locker room, and it was a difficult situation for Guy Gosling to come into. Of course, silver at the World Championships when they wanted a gold, maybe a bit of disappointment, but they have that resilience, and they've come here at the Paralympic Games in 2018, and they've still managed to pull out the performances. And the big performance today, which really showed heart, character, quality from that man there, but the will to win never ended.
Well, what you saw from Farmer today, for my money, was the start of a captaincy. The start of a journey of a young man who's already the assistant captain. But 4 years ago in Sochi, as a 16-year-old, a Sweet 16 arrival on the global stage in this sport. But over the last 4 years, what you now see, and the indication there, even equally with the beard on his face, the whole look of the man, the way he carries himself, you're seeing not only one of the best players in the world and arguably the best player all around in the world, but you're seeing what could become a generational leader for USA.
And he equals the Paralympic record as well for 11 goals scored in one tournament by fellow countryman Sylvester Fleece, who himself was a pioneer in the earlier stages of para ice hockey for the United States of America, and how it's grown since, not just the USA but Canada as well. It's astronomical how far they've come, and they are competing at such a high platform here.
Well, they're all leaders. They're all leaders in a Paralympic movement, and that's a leadership move there for Bridges, because he knows that Arsenal is basically on the edge. You're looking at maybe in the moment, and maybe for years to come, you'll be broken by the remembrance of these moments. They are sometimes just beyond what you can manage to quell. And Westlake talked about it about the defeats that they have had. He says hockey has given him some of the most incredible highs in his life, but it's also given him some of the most devastating lows. As unfortunately for the Canadians, this here in Pyeongchang was the death of another gold medal possibility at a Paralympic Games. They'll get a chance to regroup and they'll be back. But that's in 4 years from now. And things will be different than they are today. They had its chance. They know they did. It was there. And they let it slip. And the Americans snatched it.
And the Americans maintain their record as well of being unbeaten against Canada in Paralympic competition. 4 meetings now, 3 wins and the 1 tie back in Nagano 1998. But this certainly the biggest meeting between these two outfits, and there's been a lot of them over the years at World Championship level. And for the United States to come through in difficult circumstances before puck drop even occurred, with the absence of Tyler Caron and Nico Landeros. And at the end of it, still, they are the champions.
Well, we're just waiting on the Koreans to arrive, and they are no doubt in the building, but of course, getting themselves in position. They are actually waiting in the ice resurfacing corridor. They are the victory ceremony, rather. The bronze, silver, and the gold in para ice hockey. It'll be the last show of what has been an incredible festival of sport, and of course here specifically the para ice hockey. It's the end of what has been an incredible journey for the Olympic tournament equally that was played in here for the last 2 months to start the first quarter of 2018. Well, it's been intoxicating stuff in this building.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the ice hockey.
신사 숙녀 여러분, 아이스하키 종목의 시상식을 시작하겠습니다.
Well, there's the roar. 9 days of action, 8 nations involved, and we have our top 3. And of course, so much talk on day 9 about North America and the giants going head-to-head in Canada and the United States of America, but a lot of local interest as well, as the Republic of Korea will get their hands on a first Paralympic medal in para ice hockey, matching the achievements of bronze at the World Championships just 12 months ago.
메달리스트들을 환영해 주십시오.
This story of the Korean team in para ice hockey has been, I think, one of the most captivating and equally as dramatic as anything that we've seen in the Paralympics. Maybe even as much as anything that I personally saw in the Olympics as well. It's they really have captured the hearts and minds of this Korean nation, and I think they've inspired an entire generation of sport and the possibility for a young generation as well.
Feels like a real homecoming for the Koreans as they come out onto the ice.
메달 시상자를 소개하겠습니다.
Mr. Dwayne Kale, Vice President of the International Paralympic Committee.
듀웨인 케일 국제 패럴림픽 위원회
Mr. Dwayne Kale, Vice President of the International Paralympic Committee, will be on duty to hand out the medals. It's going to be a busy task, that's for sure, with 3 full rosters to give the medals to. He won't be alone.
Chairperson of the Democratic Party.
As handing out the silver medals will be Mr. Kim Sung-il, the IPC governing board member.
Accompanied by
다음은 시상품 시상자입니다.
Ms. Mariana Davis, governing board member of the International Paralympic Committee.
마리아나 데이비스 국제 패럴림픽 위원회 집행위원입니다.
Ms. Deborah Alexander, governing board member of the International Paralympic Committee.
데보라 알렉산더 국제 패럴림픽 위원회
Well, I think equally
집행위원입니다.
for the delegates, it's an honor to be here, to be able to present these medals and these awards to the athletes. I think they know that as well. It's a wonderful culmination of a 7-year journey for Pyeongchang. And remember, if you're just tuning in and maybe aren't as entirely aware, they applied for these Olympic and Paralympic Games 3 different times. And it wasn't until the third time. They thought they had the 2010, and thought they had it 2014. Finally, in 2018, will allow the presentation of the medals and the in-house announcer.
최광형 주영채 김영성
Well, there he is.
정승환
Jung Si-won. He gets the additional applause. He led the team in scoring, but he really much could very well be a part of that leadership
장동신
of the legacy of these games.
And here is the match winner, Jang Dong-shin. It off the sledge, doesn't matter.
이주승
It wasn't pretty, but it is the biggest goal the Republic of Korea may have ever scored or ever will score in para ice hockey.
이용민
The scenes of emotion at the end of their celebration in day number 8. Well, they're real. They were real. And they
김대중
were emotional. They weren't just a one-trick pony, remember, Korea. As you look at Cho Byeon-suk, who gets the next medal here. He was the center iceman on that line with Jung Si-won. They had options. They had different looks to them as you look at the 2 players involved in that bronze medal winning goal.
이종경 유만균
The belated birthday gift for Lee Jae-woong as well, the goaltender for the Republic of Korea, given the nod for the big occasion. And didn't he come up trumps? He was superb in goal. There weren't too many opportunities in the bronze medal game. It was a very close affair. But whenever the Korean goaltender and whenever the Korean team as a whole were called upon, they made sure that they were strong and they were accounted for.
One of the things I would say define them as a characteristic, they were incredibly resilient, but I thought they were very mentally tough. And they conditioned themselves to work at all times. They never thought they were entitled to a bronze simply by right of earning it a year ago here at the World Championships. They worked for everything they got in this tournament. They're well deserving of this medal they're receiving.
I think back to the group stage as well against Japan. They ended up winning 4-1, but they didn't really get the breaks in that till the final period. They were chipping away, and eventually got the breaks that they were looking for. And of course in the semi-finals it was always going to be a difficult game against Canada, but they really gave it their all in that. And Canada had to be on their A game, and unfortunately for Korea they were, but in the bronze medal game they still had enough in the reserve tank to come back out and defeat Italy. And again, that was a late moment as well. Not the first time, the Czech Republic game as well. So many moments in this arena for the Republic of Korea team to look back on and marvel over just how poignant and how successful they have been.
The thing is, you don't win a bronze medal unless you've got a deep team. As there, the final acknowledgement of Republic of Korea and this crowd in day 9 with another chance with an encore to acknowledge their journey and their success here in Pyeongchang.
Contrast of emotions, but still the same level of volume from the crowd in recognition of this Canada team.
James Dunn.
How about James Dunn, 17 years young, arriving on the Paralympic stage? And it's a difficult thing for the Canadians because Canada is a hockey country. And when you come from a hockey country, you come from hockey expectancy, which is to win gold.
Rob Armstrong.
And when you don't win gold, you feel like you've come up short. But Rob Armstrong, there will be a moment that he has to now harness and utilize to become better as a result of going off that post with the empty net.
Corbin Smith.
Corbin Smith, just 19 years old as well, got his first Paralympic goal this week.
Ben Bellini.
And the average age of this side is around 28 years old. We touched on just the trio of Bridges, Bowden and Westlake being around in 2006 and picking up that gold medal there. But you've got the likes of Dixon, and you have got the youth in the Canadian ranks to be able to carry on and propel forwards even further and be back in 4 years' time to possibly be top of the podium on that occasion.
Arsenault. Billy Bridges.
Billy Bridges, for me, had a resurgence in his international play. I was wondering whether in 2015, whether or not time was catching up or not, or just the game was changing, but he had a resurgence and he had an outstanding tournament. He scored the goal today that gave Canada the greatest of hopes, and that was going to be enough, but unfortunately, they needed two.
Liam Hickey.
Liam Hickey had a really good game for me as well. There were a lot of times he was getting down the channels and really beating the American defenseman for pace, but there just wasn't much room on the ice during regulation for these defensemen to really show what they were made of.
Corbin Watson.
Corbin Watson and Dominic Larocque, the two goaltenders, will be the final two to receive their silver medals. And Larocque, well, Larocque by name, Larocque by nature in this final. Him and Corbin Watson, they were sharing out the time on the ice during the group stages, and Larocque in the semi and the final. showing exactly what he was made of. Some miraculous saves, even in overtime. But Declan Farmer was just hammering away, and blew down the Canadian house.
Canada with the silver medals and
Paralympic champions representing the United States
again
of
reminding
America.
that this is the first time these two nations have seen each other in a gold medal game in a Paralympics. They continue to add to their legacy of just classic matchups.
Well, it wasn't quite as comfortable as the 3-0 semi-final win in Sochi 2014 or the 5-1 hammering in 2002 against Canada. But this meeting between the two great North American rivals, that one's for you, Coach. Brody Roybal directing the goal to the screen there. This is spine-tingling stuff, isn't it, for the Americans, who play with so much heart so often. They have the smile on their faces and the expression when they go out on the ice. They're having a great time out there, but there is a lot of emotion as well behind this gold medal in memory of Jeff Sauer.
Luke McDermott.
What I like about Farmer and the way he's celebrating his moment is that he is as pleased for every other American on that piece of carpet getting their medals right now as he is for himself. He knows that he's good enough to be the difference, but there comes a burden of responsibility with that you always want to bring it when it matters most and never let your side down. And he found a way.
Rico Roman. Joshua Masevich.
Joshua Misevich, for me, great story. Missed out on the 2017 World Championships, but a big part of the fabric of this American side. With a dedication this time from Josh Pauls, the captain.
Still in active service with the American Army. Those are a lot of the backstories as we look at Steve Cash here now. He with a military background as well.
Kevin McKee.
So as McKee.
And of course, each of the medalists over the course of these Pyeongchang 2018 Paralympic Winter Games have been receiving a complimentary Vanderby replica as well. At the age of some of the Americans, it might have only been a few years ago that they were chucking the toys out of the bedroom.
I'm going to miss Vanderby. Fantastic mascot here in Pyeongchang, and some of the best dance moves in the intermission breaks as well in in-house entertainment. Jen Lee just testing the metal there with his chompers. Smiles, big ones. You betcha.
And these gold medals will probably taste sweeter than any of the previous three that the United States or America have had. Of course, they had the dramatic shootout in 2002 against Norway. But to beat your arch rivals in overtime in your first Paralympic gold medal meeting, Well, they've lived to tell the tale right here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre.
Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of the United
The
States
Americans
of America.
are crowned the gold medalists of para ice hockey, Pyeongchang 2018.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic medalists.
여러분, 패럴림픽 메달리스트 드립니다.
And that is that. I'm sure the sports press department here at the Gangneung Hockey Centre had to quickly change it around from the Canadian national anthem to the American. It was so close at the end of regulation. But then popped up Declan Farmer with his 10th and then 11th goals of these Paralympic Winter Games, the second in overtime. It could not have been more dramatic.
Yeah, it was the Declan double blow. As they'll bill this one, maybe in years to come. The DDB, as in came what I believe will be the future captain of the USA. And he rescued his fallen troops and got them out of duress and brought them back to safety, where the Americans at the moment belong, at the top of the gold medal podium.
And a humbling moment as well for the Koreans. It can begin to sink in now, if it didn't on day 8, that they are up there amongst the elite of para ice hockey as they trade fist pumps with the Canadians. And the Americans to follow as well.
And now for the signature moment that is for the Americans. They'll take the center ice logo and the world's press awaiting for that signature moment to capture. And you see the American pennant there with the initials JS, that's standing for Jeff Sauer. That will be in front of this American photo. I tell you, you can see as they have their fist pumped right there for that photo. I shook hands up here in the media tribunes today with Kevin Rempel, who was a part of the Canadian pair ice hockey team in Sochi in 2014. They are powerful grips, as you can expect from the nature of this sport, the development of their upper bodies, and obviously the use of their hands to do everything, to provide the skating, provide the passing, the shooting, the skill, everything that goes on in para ice hockey. What a technical sport, full of dimension, but also full of respect, as you see the Koreans and the Americans, one more time, acknowledging each other here in Pyeongchang, right here on the ice. That's where it's most real. That's where their relationships will be formed for many of them the rest of their lives.
Good number of the crowd still here as well. I think there's almost a feeling that they don't quite want to leave just yet. This place has been a theatre of some wonderful memories over the course of the last 9 days here at the Pyeongchang 2018 Paralympic Winter Games. And we thank you for joining us over the course of what has been the enthralling, thrilling nature of para ice hockey. We finally have our victors. It is the United States of America. And of course the Koreans to the right of the screen, themselves feeling like their own gold medalists after hosting such a fantastic games and getting such a magnificent bronze at the end of it.
For many, they would have billed that the Americans and Canadians were going to be in the gold medal game by right. It's not their right, but they have earned that position and continue to be at the top of the podium. It was an incredible display from the Americans to find a way, against all odds, against the Canadian side that looked to be on its way to gold medal glory, their first time since 2006. But it's been a devastating blow as Canada come up short. And it's the Americans through a double blow from Declan Farmer. What a leader he is. He scores 2. Canada, unfortunately, fall a goal short. It's America with gold, 2-1 in extra time over the Canadians. What a dramatic para ice hockey tournament from Pyeongchang.